What's going on, you guys? Frost here, and I'm back with another guide. This time, we'll be talking about Lee Sin Jungle. The following subjects will be mentioned in this guide: champion description, abilities, leveling order, runes, masteries, item build, and ending off in the jungle routes. If you want to go to a specific subject straight away, you can click on it right now. Champion description. Lee Sin is a strong fighter who has the potential to be an assassin as well as a tank. He's a very strong early game champion because he pretty much outdamages any other junglers at this point. If you can scale this early game power throughout the game, Lee Sin will be very strong throughout the entire game. Yes, the entire game. Some people think that Lee Sin falls off late game. This is not true. Lee Sin is actually very strong late game. If you can land your skills effectively, he will do a lot. The main downside about Lee Sin is he has a really high skill cap, meaning that he is very hard to play. But if you can play him pretty well, you'll pretty much be able to carry like 90% of your games. If you want to play a champion that's really strong with a high skill cap, Lee Sin is definitely the champion for you. Lee Sin's abilities. His passive, Flurry. After using an ability, Lee Sin's next two basic attacks within 3 seconds gain 40% attack speed and return 15 energy each. His first ability, Sonic Wave and Resonating Strike. Sonic Wave is a single target, linear skill shot. When it hits an enemy, it deals physical damage and grants true sight for 3 seconds. Recasting this ability after you hit the skill shot will make you go into Resonating Strike. This will make you dash to the target you hit with the skill shot and deal physical damage, plus 8% of the target's missing health. So the lower HP on your target, the more damage it will do. This skill can be used for several things: as a gap closer, to either get to your jungle camp faster or behind your enemy to kick them back. You can also use the skill as an execute when you combine it with your fourth ability, since this will burst the enemy and put him to a lower amount of HP. His second ability, Safeguard and Iron Will. Safeguard allows Lee Sin to dash to a target ally. This can either be a champion, ward, or allied minion. If it's used to jump to a champion or on yourself, it will give you a shield that lasts for 2 seconds and the cooldown will be halved. If you cast this again within 3 seconds, you will activate Iron Will. This will give Lee Sin bonus lifesteal and spell vamp for 4 seconds. The lifesteal and spell vamp will increase the more points you put into this skill. This skill is used to get out of sticky situations by jumping over a wall using a ward, and the Iron Will part of this skill is to get more sustain in a jungle or lane or any sort of team fights. His third ability, Tempest and Cripple. Tempest. Lee Sin smashes the ground, dealing magic damage that scales off of AD to all nearby enemies, granting true sight of them for 4 seconds. If this skill hits an enemy, you can cast it again within 3 seconds to use Cripple, which slows their movement speed for 4 seconds, decaying over its duration. This skill is mainly used for damaging enemies in ganks and slowing them down with it. You can also use this to make stealth champions useless, because you can keep vision over them with this and your Q. His fourth ability, Dragon's Rage. Lee Sin roundhouse kicks an enemy champion, knocking them back and dealing physical damage. If this enemy collides with another enemy, they will take the same amount of damage and they are knocked up into the air. This skill is used to either execute the enemy by combining it with your first ability, or you can use it to knock back enemies into your team. This skill is the reason the famous insect Lee Sin plays exist. An insect is basically you use Q to dash to an enemy, then you put a ward behind him real fast, and W onto that, and then kick him back. Leveling these abilities. On screen right now you can see my leveling order for Lee Sin. I take Q on level 1 since this offers you the best clear speed for the jungle as a single skill. On level 2, I'll take my W for more sustaining clearing, and on level 3, I'll take E for more damage. And, of course, to have all 3 of your skills to use your passive better. After this, I start maxing Q first, for the most damage in ganking and a lower cooldown on your gap closer for faster jungle clear speed as well as better ganks. I max my E second because the damage I get from it will help me in clearing as well as doing more damage in ganking. Also, it gives you a higher slow percentage, and this will make it easier for you to hit your Q. And on top of this is magic damage. And since people generally buy armor against Lee Sin, this will help you burst them a little bit more. I max my W last because as jungle Lee Sin you pretty much only use this to like ward jump or use insect kicks, or never really to sustain in very early levels. Of course, you need the first level to sustain your jungle, and in the end you take R whenever possible. The runes. For Lee Sin, I go 9 flat 80 marks, 9 flat armor seals, 9 flat magic resist glyphs, and 3 flat 80 quints. This setup will make you very strong early game because all of Lee Sin damage scales off of AD. I take armor to survive my jungle better, and a flat magic resist to survive any AP damage I would tank in the very early levels. I don't take scaling MR glyphs because I'd like to be as strong as I can in the early game, to be able to snowball into the rest of the game with Lee Sin. The Masteries. I go 21-9-0 on Lee Sin, taking cooldown reduction over the attack speed, since you gain attack speed from your passive anyway, and on Lee Sin it's better to get your skills back faster. For the rest, I pretty much take all the Masteries you need to increase your damage to its maximum potential. And I take 9 in defense to help me take less damage from champions and in the jungle, while also gaining more HP. The item build. As you can see on screen right now, there are 2 builds I have for Lee Sin. Build 1 is very damage-oriented Lee Sin, and build 2 is more of a utility-based tank Lee Sin. If you're just starting to learn Lee Sin, I recommend you going with build number 2. This is safer and allows for more mistakes. Build number 1 is the way I build Lee Sin. I have found that this build, when making little to no mistakes, really helps you in snowballing, since every damage spike will go on with a power spike from Lee Sin. Now let's get into the build order on both builds. I start out with Machete and 2 health potions, and a warding trinket. On build number 1, I straight up rush for a brutalizer. This is because it allows Lee Sin insane amounts of damage very fast. But this will only work if you manage to get an early lead. If you can't get this early lead, just build your warrior jungle item out of the Trailblazers upgrade first. Right after you finish your jungle item, you want to go and build into a Tiamat. It's best if you can straight up buy a pickaxe first, and if you can't, it's best to just buy a longsword with standard boots. After you finish your Tiamat, you want to go into some mobility boosts to get around the map quicker with all this damage you just received from a Tiamat. After this, you want to finish your Tiamat into a Hydra, and after that finish off your damage with a Lost Whisper. Right after Lost Whisper you will have all the damage you need, so you can go for tank for the rest of the game. All you have to build now is tank items. These will be Randuins and Banshees, or Spirit Visage if there aren't any important spells to block with Banshees. This very rarely happens though. You don't want to get a Locket anymore at this point, since it's way too late in the game for it to matter so much. And there is a big chance your team will already have one anyway. For the other style of Lee Sin play and build number 2, you want to get a Skirmisher Blade after your first back. This will allow you some certain damage and it's a much safer way of jungling than just going for straight up Brutalizer. You can of course still choose to get the Brutalizer before anything, but that's up to you. Right after you finish your jungle item, you want to build into mobility boots as fast as you can. And right after that, get yourself a Sightstone, since this will allow you to roam the map faster and place wards wherever your team needs it. Always swap your trinket for a sweeping lens right after you bought your Sightstone, and upgrade this sweeping lens as soon as you can. At this point you want to build into some utility tank items. Go for Randuins and Locket. Whichever one you get first depends on what you're playing against and who's fed. Get a Randuins if you're playing against AD, and get a Locket against AP. This will differ every game, so just take a second to look at the scoreboard to decide what you want to get. As a final item, getting Lost Whisper is always solid. This will give you a sudden damage boost and also will allow you not to just tank the enemy, but also be a big threat to the enemy AP and AD carry. And last but not least, always buy wards whenever you have some spare money. Keep it as a rule to yourself, you should always have 2 wards in your inventory, whether this is from your Sightstone or just normal wards. Always have at least 2 of them. The jungle routes. Starting off on the blue side of the map here. I'm starting with double golems. You could start with Gromp if your bot lane wants double golems, that's whatever. But mainly on this jungle routes part I'm going to talk about ganking strategies with Lee Sin. Because it's quite tricky. You can really get some early snowballing going, and normally in normal games or anything, if you're not going to do the clear I'm going to do right here, I would recommend doing double golems, then red, then blue, and then gank. Or just do double golems, not double golems, Gromp, then blue, then red, then gank. Just get your main buffs and then gank. Because the earlier you can gank on Lee Sin, the earlier you can get some kills. Like, farming on Lee Sin is pretty much never worth it. It's either gank or invade. Invading sometimes pretty good idea. Depends on who you're against. Like, let's say if you're against a slow jungler like Shen. You don't see Shen often, but he's a pretty slow jungler right now. And generally you'll be able to invade him if you're fast enough. So that's always something to keep account of. This pretty much comes with experience, so if you play more Lee Sin, you'll be able to know when you can actually invade someone. If you're gonna get invaded, however, like by Nidalee or any other champions like them, they always invade you, pretty much always invade you. You can always expect them, that's what I'm trying to tell you here. I take Q first to clear the initial camp, that either being Gromp or double golems, and then I take E second for more damage, and that's slow. Because if they invade you, the extra damage and the movement speed slow, pretty much will help you win any invade. It's not like so smart to invade a Lee Sin because he's legitimately the strongest, if not one of the strongest champions early game. So yeah. Right, ganking. Now, on Lee Sin you want to try to either gank a top lane first, if you can, or a bot lane. It's pretty tough to gank mid lane without your kick, because generally mid laners will be able to escape you, and at that point you will not have much to, like, gank with. If you have your kick, you can kick them back into the lane, and, like, for your mid laner to either stun them or do a lot of damage to them. And that's pretty much the point where you want to gank mid lane. Earlier than that, it's not really gonna work out. Unless they're really far pushed up, you might get lucky. But generally top lane and bot lane, they're both long lanes, so you have enough time to chase them and do enough damage to them. Of course, ganking bot lane will mean you ganking for 2 kills, and ganking for 2 kills is pretty much always worth it. That's why I like ganking bot lane so much. A lot of junglers don't like this because, well, it's harder to gank bot lane and it's warded and everything, but it's 2 kills if you complete your gank successfully. Now, this is the other side of the map, by the way. Just do it regular, like get your Q first, W second, get some sustain. Again, if you're gonna get invaded, get E, because E is stronger in invade. What you always want to do, by the way, as Lee Sin, since you're not farming that much, or at least your goal is not to farm that much but gank more, you want to try to get both river crabs every single time they spawn. Because they're worth like 80 to 85 gold, I'm not sure on the exact number here. And they give vision, so you can get like a lot of gold and vision for basically killing something that takes you 5 seconds. It's worth more than just clearing your wolf camp, for example. It's not really worth it. Like getting that, just getting the speed boost and then running instantly into a lane, you can tell if it's warded or not by if they walk slightly back or they play slightly back, by the way. That's always a good thing to take note of. Just watch the lane you're approaching, watch how he plays, and then when you get closer, you want to watch how he plays then. If he doesn't change his playstyle, you can be like 90% sure it's not warded. If he changes instantly, or just walks back instantly, it's pretty much always warded, so you can take note of that. On Lee Sin, I try to go like early damage, and you'll see me buying 2 longswords like every time I can. Because, like, it's not really worth it to get an early jungle item on Lee Sin, since your goal isn't to jungle as much. Anyway guys, thanks for watching this guide. Please remember to leave a like, rating, and comment below on what champion you want to see next. And I'll see you next time. Bye!